Hi everybody, and thanks for joining me today. So, continuing to work on the peahen's wing feathers. We've got kind of two layers of feathers, working sort of on the third one. Yeah, it's been coming along nicely. And I apologize in advance. I will probably not be as chatty today. I have a bit of a sore throat. I'm afraid I might be coming down with a cold, so hopefully not, but yeah. Throat is a little sore and just feeling extra tired, so yeah. I took a whole bunch of vitamin C to hopefully see if I can keep it away. Can fight it off, but yeah, we will see. Well, not as bad as we had I had norovirus a few weeks ago, and that was not fun. I said the nice thing about it is it passes very quickly, like a day, but yeah, you're very violently ill during that time. It's not fun at all. Yeah. Couldn't keep anything down, and the room was spinning constantly. It was not fun. And then about a week later, my son got it. And my husband so far seems to have escaped unscathed. You know, knock on wood, he's been lucky. So yeah, as it's been a while, yeah, he may have avoided it, thankfully. It was not fun at all. Yeah, I was glad. I keep little Pedialyte packets. They're not pre-mixed, they're just the powder, and then you put it in a glass of water and mix it up that way because they have a longer shelf life than the liquid stuff. Yeah, and that was really helpful. Yeah. Yeah, so I always say a cold's not fun, but nausea and dizziness is way worse, in my opinion. Yeah, I hate that the most. So yeah, again, lots of red on the shadowy parts of the feathers, more than I would have expected from looking at the picture, but yeah. I've been happy with it so far, so I'm going to continue to follow the pattern. Okay, park this up here. So I did these two. Yeah, and then there's some navy little bits coming in because, like, as I said, it's getting more shadowy closer to her body. So, working in darker colors. So yeah, I'm going to work kind of all the way to the bottom here and sort of fill out as the feathers sort of grow from that spot. At least that's what I decided when glancing over the pattern before I started filming. Of course, I may change my mind as I go. That often happens. So, yeah, we'll see. Yeah, so it was funny. Recently, Walmart came out with their new rebranded logo, and it looks almost exactly the same as the old one. It's like the text of it is like slightly bolded, and the little yellow sort of like star shape kind of thing is basically the same with a slightly different tinge to the blue background. So yeah, it was, yeah, they made a big deal about dropping a new logo, and it's like, it looks almost exactly the same as the old one. And Aldi did a spoof where they put their own logo and they just wrote before on one and then after on the other, and they're exactly the same. And said, well, since we're rebranding logos, you know, check out ours. Yeah. It's like, okay, yeah, whoever is running their social media, good job. Pardon me, I said it reminded me of, there's a scene in Red Dwarf, and Lister says, you know, why are they painting the the hallway the same color it was before. And River says, no, they're changing it from ocean gray to military gray or something like that. And he says, well, it looks the same to me. He says, no, here's the nice, new military gray bit. And then that's the dowdy, ugly ocean gray bit right there. Or is it the other way around? Because, yeah, you couldn't tell. So, yeah, so that was like what the new Walmart logo, new in quotes because it looks almost exactly the same. I mean, I get they don't want to lose the brand recognition by maybe changing it too drastically, but it's like, I'm not sure I would have bothered announcing that we were changing it at all if it was changing in such a subtle way that you basically couldn't tell. Yeah. Okay, so we got a whole bunch of this color all at once. So yeah, like I said, I'm going to kind of follow this all the way down to the bottom, and then I'm going to start working my way outwards from there. We'll see if I change my mind as I go, but yeah. I'm trying to kind of square everything off for a bit so that I can move the whole frame over and continue stitching from there. Yeah, so I think I have 2 more sessions after this one. So yeah, I don't think we're going to finish her wing feathers this month. Yeah. So I might get a 0 next month. It depends how far across I get, because it looks like I'm going to get one when I get past her chest. There's a light blue, very light blue color that's used for shading on her chest, and I think that may be the only place it's used in the rest of the pattern. So yeah, we will finally reach that milestone. Yeah, these pieces are so big, you have to celebrate your milestones as you reach them. Because yeah, someone asked how long, it's like, well, it depends. If I was stitching on just one project, or not, but even so, I'd say like, yeah, you count your time for these in years. Generally, yeah, they are big. Because yeah, I believe I started this one May of 2023, so we're coming on to 2 years now, and I definitely won't have it done so by then. So I think we'll have it done before 3 years, but it will definitely be past 2 years, probably 2.5, I would guess. Probably more than that, yeah. Yeah, I said, I'm thinking less than 3 years, but I mean, it might take that long. Who knows? These are, yeah, like I said, these are big commitments. But in the end, it's still just, one X at a time. Or perhaps in my case, a bunch of bottom legs and then a bunch of top legs. But yeah, in the end, it's just still lots of X's. Yeah, I tell people, if you can do the smaller projects, you can do the bigger ones. It's just more of the same. Although, yeah, changing from non-full coverage to full coverage can be a bit of a learning curve. Pardon me, it was for me, but like I said, break it down into smaller sections. If you look at the whole thing at once, it is definitely can get overwhelming. Okay, I think there's a fuzzy showing up there yet. There we go. Oh, that one actually, I can tuck into my grime guard because, yeah, that is in the next pass, so I will no longer be using it. Okay, so I did do that one. Yeah, I have to make sure I kind of keep up with my coloring in as I go so that I don't lose my place. So yeah, as you can see by looking at the pattern, the feathers are striping in that direction, the direction that I used to slope my diagonals when I stitched more diagonally. So yeah, this area is kind of looking more like my old style when I first started this channel. And then my next one I have planned will be Deer Creek, which is 200,000, so smaller than this one. Less than 2/3 of the size of this one, so that one will probably take, I would guess, 2 years, maybe less, it depends. I went through it and it does have some bigger color blocks in it. Of course, there are areas of fairly high confetti, so yeah. We'll kind of see how it goes. So that one. Yeah, sometimes I think there was probably a page break right there. I've turned the page breaks off because I prefer to stitch as one continuous pattern, but yeah, sometimes that can cause a little bit of a glitch. When coloring in, it'll stop at the page break line. Even if you can't see it, it is still there, yeah. But yeah, generally you do that if you just put it in move mode and kind of wiggle the screen around a little bit. That generally fixes it. You can also, you know, close it out and restart it, but I find, yeah, just moving it around tends to correct that little glitch. So yeah, so sometimes it doesn't color in stuff that you marked as colored, or it colors in stuff that you didn't color in, and then yeah, if you, like I said, just move it around, it kind of refreshes it and then fixes that. Okay, so this thread is about to run out, so I'm actually going to switch to a different color for a minute and do some of the navy blue there. I could continue with this color. It's, you know, I just feel like mixing it up helps keep my my brain interested. Okay, so over, oh, actually, I said that, but there's actually some more of that color along that edge there. So yeah, I think I will actually start a new thread in a different place. So I'm gonna do the ones along this edge here. And then park over to the right, and then I will switch to the navy blue and start filling that in. Gonna just work it from the bottom and cross as I go. I find with these skinny little diagonal runs, I generally cross them as I go. I find them a little neater than doing my usual bottom legs and then top legs, just because of the shape of them. Yeah. Yeah, so I said in previous video I was going to try and read more nonfiction. Last year I think I read about 10 out of my 53 were nonfiction. So yeah, right now I'm reading one called Code Girls, which is about the female code breakers in World War II. That's quite interesting. And they're sort of comparing and contrasting the different code breaker programs in, say, the UK versus in the US and stuff. They said, like, in the UK, once they got to Bletchley Park, it was quite insulated. They weren't really allowed to go anywhere. Whereas in the US ones, as long as they didn't talk about the work they were doing, yeah, a lot of the women were allowed to, go out and party on their days off and stuff. And so that it was quite a different experience for a lot of these women who came from, say, farming communities, right? To suddenly they're in New York. And yeah, so yeah, it was interesting. But yeah, like they weren't allowed to talk about what they were doing. They had to say they worked as, receptionists and secretaries and stuff. Yeah. They said it was interesting because a lot of the jobs that were generally filled by women back in those times actually made them very suited for code breaking. Pardon me. They did things like take shorthand, which is basically, oh, pardon me. Sorry. I did warn you about my throat. Basically, shorthand is basically a kind of code almost, right? And, they said a lot of this stuff has finally been declassified, and the author who wrote the book also did interviews with surviving code breakers who are still around. And yeah, they said like when they showed up, like there was nothing was organized or filed, and so you couldn't really like index or cross-reference stuff, and so a lot of them had to do that, and it would help them to make connections you might not have otherwise, right? Because of course this is World War II, computing was really in just its infancy, so this stuff had to be indexed and cross-referenced in, like card catalogs and Rolodexes and stuff on paper by people. Yeah. It wasn't like now when you can just type in a keyword and boom, right? The results show up. Yeah, so it's pretty interesting. Yeah, so they said out of an estimated 20,000 code breakers, more than half of them were women. Yeah. So yeah, I'm only about a quarter of the way in, but I'm quite enjoying it. It was one of those ones that came on as a monthly deal or something for like $2. And I went, okay, for $2, I'll give most books a try. Yeah. Yeah, I've often said I would like to go visit Bletchley Park one day, because you can. They basically turned it into like a museum after. Yeah. So that would be kind of cool. Yeah, there actually was a show called The Bletchley Circle, which was about 4 female code breakers who, after the war, started solving crimes. Yeah, so it was, I really enjoyed it. I was just sad that they only gave it 2 seasons, but yeah. Yeah, it was. I don't know if it's still available, but when I watched it, it was available for free on Tubi. So, yeah, I highly recommend it if you're into that sort of thing. Like if you liked the Imitation Game movie, which was about Alan Turing and the birth of modern computing. Yeah. Yeah, that was one of those. I found the DVD in one of the $5 bins at Walmart. Yeah. Well, I'd wanted to see it, but I rarely see stuff in the theaters these days, and I often have so much to watch that I don't really pay for stuff. Yeah. Like, if I've already paid for my month of Disney Plus, and there's plenty to watch there, why would I pay extra to rent a movie, right? Yeah. So, yeah, it's very rare that I will pay full price for stuff. I am cheap. Got some red fluffies. Yeah. Just kind of coax those to go back to the back of the work. Yeah. So at the beginning of this month, said it would be nice to get 10,000 done and reach 190,000, but I don't think that's going to happen. Like I said, I've been busy with other stuff, with digitizing old photos, and then, yeah, I'm not feeling so great, so I might miss some stitching days then, so. Yeah, and I am still putting some work into other projects that I don't show on here, so. Yeah, I manage to do usually about 12 to 15,000 stitches a month across all my projects. So, yeah. Of course, that depends a lot on how much confetti there is, and of course, what else I have going on at the time. How much time I can devote to stitching. Yeah, so the other half has to go away again for work. Yeah, they're busy switching their locations to a new automation system. So yeah, that involves a lot of hardware and software installs across different locations. So yeah, it's busy. Yeah, and then my husband discovered, so the lease was up on his company truck, and so he got a new one, I think in August or something like that last year. Well, he discovered, he said, well, he was out driving and it was a really sunny day. The way they redesigned the hood on the Toyota Tundra, unfortunately, it shines in such a way that it's absolutely blinding, he said, when there's no cloud cover or whatever. And yeah, so he said he was practically, like, even with sunglasses on, having to squint to drive home, which of course is not good, right? Eye strain, plus if you're squinting, you don't see as well, right? Less peripheral vision and stuff. And yeah, he looked it up, and apparently a lot of people have been having that problem with the newer models. Yeah, they designed the hood to look different, and I guess nobody realized that it would turn it into freaking like a mirror that would yeah, like he said, if you're out here where we are, where you're going to be driving on the highway where there's no trees, no, you know, nothing, because we're out in the prairies, and it's snowy out, so you get the sun bouncing off the snow and off the hood. Yeah, he said it's just horribly blinding. So he has to go and take his truck in, and actually he's going to get some decals put on that will be sort of matte instead of shiny, so that yeah, apparently they've been having to do it for quite a few customers, because he's not the only one who has noticed this problem. Yeah. Yeah, it's funny how people can design things and you don't realize the flaws in the design until after it's been made. Yeah, there was one that I was reading about. They said they built this suspension bridge. It was like a suspension bridge for walking, for pedestrians, not for cars. And they said that when they first opened it, everybody came off and said, and felt horribly motion sick. And they said, yeah, the problem was the bridge would sway. You would put your foot out to stop yourself from falling over, which would make it then sway the other way, and then you'd put your foot. And so basically it sort of just kept building momentum like this pendulum. And they said basically if one person was walking across it, it wasn't bad. But if you had a whole group of people walking across it, that effect would be so magnified that by the time people got to the other side, yeah, they had been traveling quite a lot and it made them really ill. So then they had to close the bridge and like redesign it so that it was more stable and didn't sway as much, because yeah. But yeah, because it's not something anyone realized when it was on the drawing board, and even when they first built it and one person walked across to test it, yeah. But when you had lots of people, yeah, the effect was amplified and not good. over there was the famous bridge, that suspension bridge that was for vehicles and stuff, and the wind made it blow itself apart. Yeah, because just the way it was designed, it caught the wind and it would get amplified, and then the more it would swing, the more the wind would make it swing until it ripped itself apart. Yeah. So, whoops. Yeah, my dad got his degree in forestry, and that required them to also take like engineering, and they would have to design bridges and stuff. And he said, yeah, that was in that course, the teacher says you either get it right or you fail. There's no like getting it 80% right, because he said, yeah, if you get a bridge 80% right, it'll fall down, right? It'll break, and nobody's going to care that you got 80% of it right. They're only going to care that it broke. So, yeah. Okay, so I'm closing in on 185,000 total. I'm thinking 186,000 is probably doable. But again, I'm not going to make that a goal because I don't want to get stressed out. Okay, hang on a sec. Let me take a look here. Oh, okay, I was thinking this shape doesn't match. That's because I actually did another row there that I forgot to color in. Yeah, there we go. Okay, phew, for a second I thought, oh no, what have I messed up? Am I going to have to rip? But no, it was just that I did more stitches that I marked than what I marked on my pattern, so it's all good. I'm sure some of you probably noticed. Yeah, well, mistakes happen. I certainly never claim to be perfect. So yeah, I'm past 100 already because this has been bigger blocks of color, so that helps speed it along. Yes, I think this is more red here, and then there's more brown coming in the next feather. But yeah, like I said, there's more purple and sort of touches of blue and green on the edges of these feathers than I expected when I looked at the picture. Oh, that's why I always say there's no substitute for seeing it actually stitched. Mock-ups can give you an idea, but yeah. Yeah, I like to sometimes go to the Heaven and Earth Designs has a gallery of finished pieces, as does Artisy. And sometimes I just like to go and browse through there rather than through the actual patterns and sort of see what catches my eye, because yeah, they often look even richer when they're actually stitched up. Okay, let's see. Yeah, that's a big bunch there, so I'm not going to bother parking this little thread over there. I'm going to instead tie it off. But yeah, if it sort of reached to where there was a single stitch by itself of this color, then I often would do that. But yeah, I'm going to instead save these pieces for when I have 2 or 3 stitches by themselves somewhere. It will be good for that. So I think I started this month at 58 something, so yeah. Been managing about 2 to 3% per month, depending, so. So yeah, I think I'll be moving my frame over one more time before the end of the month. Yeah, I sort of move my frame about once a month or so. Sort of every 5 to 8 days, depending. Okay, and I see actually that I have another thread parked there of this color. Let's see how long that is. Not very. Okay, but even so, yeah, I think I'm going to park this one down below if there's any left. And yeah, continue on with that thread, and then I will add more as necessary, rather than traveling this one down and back up again, since there is another thread parked there. Yeah. And like I said, I can see there's a whole bunch more stitches of this color below this pass, so so starting to become in the orange brown bit here, with some red sort of interspersed. Okay. So yeah, I'm thinking getting 2/3 done is not going to happen until end of March at the very earliest. Ooh, that's no good. Yeah, because that'll be at least 200,000. Oh, what the heck is going on there? There we go. Nope, that's still not right. That looks funny. Okay, there. Did the loop start? I don't know. Kind of caught itself funny. Oh, let's make sure there isn't a knot back there. No, it's smooth, I think. Oh, maybe not. Oh, there is, but I think that might be on a different thread. Oh, for Pete's sake, I hate when that happens. Yep, that's on my red. Oh, rats. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Let's see. Something is funny up back there, but I don't think I can pull it from the front. Okay, so I'm gonna have to do my usual fix. Draw that loop that's left behind across the back until it's smoothed out. Yeah. There we go. Because, yeah, I don't feel like unpicking. It takes longer, and plus the fact, too, once you unpick, often that thread is not usable anymore because it gets all fuzzy and worn, and yeah. So I lose a bit of thread to this loop being on, extra loop being on the back, but I feel like it kind of works itself out because, yeah, if I picked it out, I would probably have to cut it out. And so that would just waste thread too. So, yeah, there we go. So then I looped it through the loop, and then I just pull it until it's neat, and then tie it off like I was finishing any other thread. And then, yeah, I won't end up with a weird little lump along the back because I definitely don't want that. There's another fuzzy there. Just, there we go. Okay, so I didn't have to unpark anything. There we go. It's funny. The last couple of times I got a knot on the back was while I was filming. When I was not filming, yeah, it was nice smooth sailing. Because of course, right? Yeah, whenever you're trying to show somebody something, that's when you mess it up. I might as well do this one because it's already attached on one side, so. generally don't leave the super short ones threaded because that tends to happen. Okay. tight squeeze, but I think I can get one last stitch out of that thread. So, all right, let's see. All right, I will start a new one. Take a look here. Yeah, I'm going to carry it all the way from the top down. I'll use shorter threads for the scattered stitches over to the side to do later. Yeah. Oh yeah, I will definitely pass 200 done today. Sweet. Little trimmed bit there. No. Come on, just let go. Oh. You're gonna be stubborn, huh? I hate when this happens. Yeah, that's just not going to release. Oh. So I'm gonna cut it out because it's being a pain. I hate that when I had plans for a whole length of thread, but then, yeah, it does that, and then there's not a thing I can really do about it. Okay, so clear, because I didn't get to stitch those. See if this is long enough to tie it off, or if I'm going to have to rip back further, which I really don't want to do, but don't really have much choice in the matter. Okay, I think, yeah. Yeah, I have enough that I can tie that off there, so. Yeah, sometimes you can pull the knot out, but sometimes you just end up tightening it. The more you try to pull it out, the more it grabs and will not let go. At that point, I don't want to risk distorting my fabric. sacrifice that bit of thread to save the project. Unfortunately, with the thread lost from having to cut that out, this would have been enough to do all these stitches here, but unfortunately, yeah, that knot thwarted me, and I will not be able to finish all of them in this area with this thread. Funny. And then I remember when I was learning to sew and trying to tie a double knot, you know, so two knots on one on top of the other to make it a little bit more secure. And I tell you, I couldn't do it. I was ended up with like a millimeter or two apart. Oh, it was so frustrating for hand sewing, right? Yeah. So yeah, when you don't want to tie knots, you can tie the tightest, you know, knots, and then when you do, it's a pain. You know, like somebody says, my headphones can tie themselves in a knot in my pocket that I could never recreate, even if I tried. Yeah, I saw a meme that said, do you know how to tie these knots? And it showed all sorts of different knots, and it says, well, your pocket can. Because yeah, you put your headphones in your pocket, they come out a completely tangled mess. Okay, so then yeah, go up a bit, fill in, go up a bit more, fill in, carry on like that. But I think I'm going to be taking my break pretty soon. I've done over 200 stitches, so it's a pretty respectable number, especially considering I'm not feeling quite myself. I'm a little under the weather. But I was well enough to stitch, so I figured, oops, might as well make a session for y'all. Try to keep on schedule. Okay, so I think I will just... Ooh, pardon me. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I will just do this and then I'm gonna call it a day. I did an extra long session last time, so this one's a little shorter. They kind of even out. So yeah, a bit bigger color blocks in this area, so I managed to get a fair amount done. So thank you so much for joining me today, and hope to see you here next time. Thanks everyone. Bye.